Combating contagious stress, building your resistance and resilience in the workplace abstract. This article explores stress contagion in organizational settings and provides strategies for building resilience against absorbing others' tensions. It begins by outlining the research demonstrating how stress transmits between individuals through unconscious neurological mirroring and limbic system processes. Left unaddressed, this emotional contagion allows stresses to spread rapidly through workplaces. However, recognizing stress contagion's scientific mechanisms empowers people to disrupt that initial transmission. Techniques discussed include cultivating mindfulness to maintain attentional and emotional control, using mindful communication styles, practicing gratitude to interrupt crisis mindsets, and fostering supportive cultures where stress is openly discussed. These mindfulness, cognitive and organizational practices strengthen individual immunity against secondhand stress over time. When implemented consistently, even imperfectly, they can sustain worker well-being and productivity despite inevitable pressures faced in busy professional environments. As an organizational consultant and researcher, one topic I frequently encounter and explore with clients is managing stress, both our own and the stress we inadvertently absorb from others. As anyone who has ever worked in an office knows, stress has a way of spreading rapidly through even the most positive of work cultures. But did you know that, much like a virus, we have the power to build up our immunity to secondhand stress, with the right strategies and mindsets? Today we will explore the research foundation and practical application of techniques you can employ to make yourself stress-resistant in your professional environment. Understanding the science behind stress contagion. Scientists have long observed how emotions transmit between individuals. Known as emotional contagion, Hatfield, Cacioppo, and Rapson, 1993. We literally feel what others around us are feeling through unconscious mimicry at both neurological and physiological levels. Parkinson and Simons, 2009. However, in the past decade researchers have started to specifically explore stress contagion, the transfer of stress responses between people who interact. Cohen and Wills, 1985. Totterdell and Holman, 2003. A foundational study by Totterdell and colleagues, 2006, found that individuals' stress levels increased when in direct contact with someone who was stressed, demonstrating stress can spread similar to a communicable disease. More recent neuroscience has shed light on exactly why and how this occurs. Our mirror neuron system automatically and unconsciously mimics the expressions, movements and vocal tones of people in our presence. Desity and Lamb, 2006. Iacoboni, 2009. When we see someone stressed, through their furrowed brows, rapid speech or erratic movements for example, our mirror neurons activate the same patterns in our own brain and body as if we were experiencing the stress ourselves. Chung and Bokala, 2017. At the same time, our limbic system, which regulates emotions, tunes into others' emotional states through facial expressions and body language cues. Baxter and Croce, 1996. Together, these unconscious social and neural processes allow stress to transfer seamlessly between colleagues within an office. While stress contagion is an involuntary reaction, recognizing its neurological underpinnings empowers us to employ strategies that strengthen our immunity against absorbing others' tension. The key is disrupting that initial triggering of our mirroring systems through maintaining attentional and emotional control over our own responses. With practice, we can disrupt that contagion cycle and choose to remain calm and focused regardless of the energy around us. Building your stress resistance, mindful awareness and detachment. One of the most effective tools for warding off outside stress is cultivating mindful awareness of your internal responses. Jon Kabat-Zinn, who pioneered the use of mindfulness for stress management, refers to mindfulness as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. 1994, p. 4. When practiced regularly, even brief moments of mindfulness meditation can strengthen our ability to observe our thoughts and emotions from a distance rather than reactively engaging with them. Lutz, Slagter, Dunn, and Davidson, 2008. This detached perspective is key for preventing stress contagion. Consider a typical scenario in any busy workplace. A colleague is frazzled as they multitask between back-to-back meetings. Lost files, flooded inboxes. Without mindfulness, it's easy for their visible stress cues to subconsciously activate our own stress responses through mirroring. But with mindful awareness, we can notice our mirror neurons firing and choose not to buy into that initial stress reaction. We simply observe our colleague's state neutrally, without unconsciously taking it on as our own experience too. For example, you may notice thoughts like, "They seem stressed. But that's their issue, not mine," or bodily feelings of tension starting to emerge, and acknowledge them non-judgmentally without acting on them. This creates separation between their experience and ours. The stress transmission is disrupted by our deliberate disengagement from that initial automatic stress contagion process. Over time, cultivating mindfulness results in what researchers call a decentering from our thoughts. We are no longer defined or controlled by every fleeting idea or feeling that arises. Fresco et al. 2007. And that detachment is key to immunity from others' stress. Mindful communication for setting calm boundaries, while mindfulness helps disrupt stress contagion internally. Clear communication can prevent it externally as well. When coworkers are venting or bringing their issues to us looking for support, it's important we respond helpfully while also maintaining boundaries. One strategy is active listening, fully focusing on understanding their perspective without judgment. Making reflective statements, and asking open-ended questions to help them work through the problem themselves where possible. Rogers and Farson, 1987. However, research shows active listening alone is not enough to prevent stress transfer, as even well-intentioned empathetic listening activates our mirror neurons and limbic contagion processes. Barcela et al. 2003. Here mindfulness comes in again. We can listen supportively while also maintaining calm detachment through self-awareness. For example, if a coworker comes to you frazzled about a conflict with another employee, you could say something like, "I'm sorry to hear you're stressed about that situation." Rather than absorbing the negativity, let's take a mindful approach and think of a resolution. You can then guide them to breathing deeply and looking at the issue objectively before offering possible solutions. This models how to communicate during stress without amplifying it further through reactive venting or problem dumping. Setting compassionate yet firm boundaries in this way keeps your stress resilience intact while still being helpful. Practicing gratitude to interrupt crisis mindset. Research shows practicing gratitude consistently improves both psychological and physical well-being. Emmons and McCullough, 2003. Wood et al. 2009. And expressing gratitude may be one of the most effective techniques for inoculating ourselves against workplace stress contagion. When feeling worries start to build from someone else's tensions, take a timeout and list things you're grateful for, both professionally and personally. Focusing on gratitude shifts our mindset away from a problem-solving crisis mode and centers us in feelings of appreciation instead. Wood et al. 2009. This simple shift in perspective can disrupt the subconscious brain and body reactions, fueling that initial stress contagion triggered by others. When worrying about a colleague's issue, you may think, "I'm grateful my workload is manageable today," or "I'm grateful for this supportive team." Expressing thanks for what's going right reframes stress into stresses and allows you to remain resilient despite pressures around you. Fostering a supportive yet stress-free culture while building personal strategies is key. Facilitating a stress-immune culture organizationally is also important. As a consultant, I've partnered with leadership teams to establish norms supporting work-life integration and normalizing imperfection. For example, Google famously provides employees space to recharge amid demanding goals through relaxing amenities. Flexibility and diversity initiatives, Bock, 2015. Leaders can also model healthy stress management. When the boss is observed taking occasional breaks or leaving on time, it fosters a culture where stress is less likely to build up unreleased. Expressing gratitude and celebrating small wins also helps cultivate appreciation over anxiety. And openly discussing emotions, limitations, and self-care gives employees social permission to keep perspective and not assume responsibility for others' tensions. An organizational culture where stress and self-criticism are normalized risks becoming a pressure cooker, amplifying tensions into an epidemic. But settings that value humanity, learning, and well-being over perfection paradoxically also achieve excellence through reduced absenteeism, higher engagement and quality work. Graywich et al. 2006. A stress-immune culture, individually and structurally, is foundational for optimal workforce well-being and productivity. Making stress immunity a sustainable habit-building immunity to stress contagion takes ongoing awareness and practice. Like exercising our muscles, we must regularly work out mindfulness, gratitude, and stress management skills for them to become ingrained habits protecting us through busy and challenging seasons. The good news is that studies show even brief daily practices, though imperfect, have lasting benefits over time. Kabat-Zinn, 1990. As a lifelong learner myself, I continue researching new stress resilience strategies and refining my immune system against tensions through small daily efforts and reflection. While stressful situations will inevitably arise at work as in life, cultivating equanimity within ourselves gives us power over how much we unconsciously absorb from others and how we choose to respond. With a stress-resistant mindset and supportive culture, we can all thrive despite pressures around us. The alternative is to remain prone to an epidemic of tensions beyond our control. I hope these insights provide a foundation for bolstering both your well-being and that of your organization. Conclusion: as social beings, we are biologically wired to unconsciously take on the emotions of those around us. While stress contagion is an inevitable reality, recognizing its neurological mechanisms empower us to disrupt that initial contagious transmission of stress. Cultivating mindfulness, actively listening with boundaries, fostering gratitude, and developing a balanced organizational culture can all strengthen our immunity. With consistent yet imperfect practice over time, these skills become sustainable habits protecting our well-being against inevitable tensions in any professional environment. While external pressures will always exist in work and life, building stress resilience within ourselves and our organizations gives us power over how much stress truly impacts us on a daily basis.